They say the house of God is a place of forgiveness, a place where sinners come to be washed clean. But that Sunday, the only thing washing over the First Baptist Church was pure, unadulterated shock. I sat in the back row, wearing oversized sunglasses and a black scarf. I watched as Mrs. Patterson, the town's biggest gossip, reached for the hymnal in front of her. She wasn't looking for a song. She was looking for the weekly bulletin. Instead, she found my husband. Or rather, a high-definition glossy photo of my late husband, naked, in a hotel room with a woman who was definitely not me. I saw Mrs. Patterson's eyes go wide. I saw her hand fly to her mouth. I saw her nudge her husband. Then, 3 rows up, another book opened. Then, another. It was like watching a wave crash in slow motion. The murmurs started. A gasp sliced through the silence of the sermon. And sitting in the front row, completely oblivious, was the architect of my misery. My ex-mother-in-law. She was nodding along to the pastor, thinking she was the holiest woman in the room. She had no idea that in about 30 seconds, her entire life was going to burn to the ground. I didn't bring a gun to church that day. I brought something much deadlier. I brought the truth. Let's rewind. To understand why I desecrated a church service, you have to understand the hell I've been living in for the last 12 months. My name is Sarah. I'm 46 years old, and up until a year ago, I thought I had a normal life. Not perfect, but normal. Then came the police knock at 2 a.m. The officer looked like a kid. He couldn't even meet my eyes when he told me. "Ma'am, there's been an accident on the interstate." My husband, Dave, was dead. But grief is a funny thing. Usually it's pure sadness. For me, it was a cocktail of agony and nausea. Because Dave didn't die alone. The police report listed a passenger, a female passenger, 24 years old. They were found intimately entangled. In the wreckage of my marriage, I discovered the debris of his double life. It wasn't just a fling. It was a second existence. He had an apartment uptown. He had shared bank accounts. And the kicker? He had children. 2 baby boys. Twins. 1-year-olds. The woman in the car, the other woman, was their mother. She died in the crash too. So there I was, a widow, betrayed, left with my 2 teenage daughters, trying to explain to them that their father wasn't a hero. He was a liar who died cheating on us. But the real villains of this story weren't in the grave. They were very much alive. Enter George and Martha, my in-laws, wealthy, pious, and absolutely rotting with toxicity from the inside out. You'd think, losing their son, they might want to bond with their only legitimate grandchildren, my daughters. You'd think they would be humble. No, they blamed me. At the funeral, Martha gripped my arm so hard, her fake nails dug into my skin. She leaned in, smelling of expensive lilies and decay, and whispered, "If you had been a better wife, he wouldn't have needed to look elsewhere." That was the first strike. The months following the funeral were a blur of lawyers and therapy sessions. My daughters, 17 and 15, were devastated. Not only did they lose their dad, but they had to process the fact that he had a secret family. They wanted nothing to do with the affair babies. Can you blame them? They're kids. It's trauma. But George and Martha saw an opportunity. They started the campaign to take custody. Not of the affair babies, oh no, they didn't want actual work. They wanted custody of my daughters. They claimed I was mentally unstable because I was seeing a therapist. They showed up at my house unannounced. They called Child Protective Services on me, twice, claiming the house was filthy. The social worker actually laughed when she saw how clean my kitchen was. They tried to sue for grandparents' rights, to force my girls to visit them. But their masterstroke was the financial abuse. Dave had cleaned out our savings to fund his affair. I was the breadwinner, thankfully, but things were tight. George and Martha knew this. They told everyone who would listen that I had stolen Dave's life insurance and left them destitute. A lie. A complete fabrication. Dave's actually left everything to them. He had cut us out months before he died. I was surviving on my own salary, paying off his debts. But in their town, perception is reality. And they controlled the narrative. Especially at their church. The Church of the Holy Sanctimony, I call it. A place where appearances matter more than souls. This brings us to last Saturday, the day everything changed. It was my youngest daughter's birthday week. She's 15. She's been struggling the most. Quiet. Withdrawn. I wanted to cheer her up. We went to the local farmer's market. It's usually a safe space. Sunshine, fresh bread, happy people. I gave her $50 and told her to go wild at the chocolate stall while I bought vegetables. I was picking out tomatoes when I got the call. Mom? Her voice was shaking so hard I could barely hear her. Mom, please come. I'm scared. I dropped the tomatoes. I ran. I found her behind the honey stand. She was curled up against a wall, knees to her chest. Surrounding her were 6 women. The church ladies, Martha's friends. They looked like sweet old grandmothers, but their eyes were predatory. They were pointing fingers at my crying child. You're a selfish little brat, one was saying. Refusing to see your grandparents? God punishes children who dishonor their elders. And leaving those poor baby brothers alone? You have your father's sin in you. I saw red. I don't remember crossing the distance, but suddenly I was there, shoving a woman in a floral dress away from my kid. Back off, I screamed. Get away from her. The ringleader sneered at me. We're just doing the Lord's work, Sarah. Someone has to teach this girl morals since you clearly failed. The Lord's work? I laughed, breathless with rage. Harassing a child? You people make me sick. We know what you did, she spat back. Martha told us. How you abandoned those babies because they were boys. How you used a surrogate because you were too broken to give Dave a son. I froze. What? Surrogate? I asked, my voice dropping to a whisper. Don't play dumb, the woman said. We know the truth. Dave was a saint. You forced him into surrogacy and then rejected the children. You're a monster. They walked away, leaving me stunned in the middle of the market, hugging my sobbing daughter. On the drive home, the pieces clicked into place. Martha couldn't admit her son was a cheater. Adultery is the one unforgivable sin in their community. It gets you shunned. So she invented a lie. A lie that made her son a victim and me the villain. She claimed the mistress was a surrogate. She claimed I wanted the babies, then changed my mind. It was brilliant. It was evil. And it was destroying my family's reputation. That night, I tucked my girls in. I promised them it would end. Then I went to my office. I opened a bottle of wine, and I opened the evidence folder on my laptop. Okay, Martha, I whispered to the empty room. You want to talk about the truth? Let's talk about the truth. I had everything. Because the divorce proceedings had started before Dave died, my lawyer had hired a private investigator. I had a digital mountain of filth. I sat there, clicking through the files. File 01. Photos of Dave and the surrogate affair partner kissing in a park. File 02. Hotel receipts. File 3. A text thread between Dave and his mother, Martha. Dave, Mom, Sarah's asking questions about the withdrawals. Martha, just tell her it's for investments. Don't let her find out about the apartment. We need to protect the boys. Dave, I feel guilty. Martha, don't. She's a cold woman. You deserve happiness. Just make sure the money is in my name so she can't touch it in the divorce. There it was. Proof that she knew. Proof that she encouraged it. Proof that the surrogate story was a complete lie. And then, the weapon that would end her. An email Martha sent to my daughters 2 days after the funeral. Subject: To my granddaughters. Content: Your father died of a broken heart because of you. If you hadn't told your mother about his private life, he wouldn't have been stressed driving that night. You have blood on your hands. You are bastards in the eyes of the family. I printed it all. But I didn't just print it on standard paper. No, that's amateur hour. I went to a professional print shop the next morning. I wore a hat and sunglasses. I requested 50 copies, high-gloss brochure paper. I want these bound, I told the clerk. Like a booklet. I spent the next 6 hours crafting the perfect delivery system. I scanned the cover of the church's weekly hymn and announcement booklet. I matched the font. I matched the layout. First Baptist Weekly Worship, Walking in the Light. But when you opened the cover, page 1. The truth about Dave, photo of the affair. Page 2. The conspiracy. Screenshots of Martha's texts encouraging the cheating. Page 3. The abuse. The email calling my daughters murderers. Page 4. A screenshot of Martha's Facebook post about the surrogate lie with false stamped across it in red, followed by the birth certificates of the affair babies listing Dave as the natural father. It was a masterpiece of destruction. I put on latex gloves. I didn't want fingerprints. I wanted this to feel like divine intervention. Sunday morning. I arrived early. The church doors were unlocked. The choir was practicing in the back room. The sanctuary was empty. I moved like a ghost. I went to the welcome table where the ushers usually stack the programs. I slipped 20 of my booklets into the middle of the stack. Then I went to the pews, specifically the 3rd and 4th rows, the power pews, where the church elders and Martha's clique sat. I slid my booklets inside the hymnals. Then I retreated to the back, found a shadowy corner, and waited. People started filing in. Good morning, sister. Peace be with you. Hypocrites, all of them. Martha walked in. She looked like the Queen Mother. She was wearing a new hat, probably bought with money Dave hid from me. She smiled, waved, and took her seat in the front row. Her husband, George, shuffled in beside her. The service began. Let us stand and sing hymn 304, the pastor announced. Amazing Grace. This was it. The shuffling of books, the rustle of paper. I watched a man 2 rows behind Martha open his hymnal. He froze. He squinted. He pulled the paper closer. He nudged his wife. She looked. Her jaw dropped. Then the whispers started, like the sound of insects buzzing, growing louder and louder. Is that? Oh, my Lord. Look at what she said to those girls. Martha was singing loudly, eyes closed, hands raised. Was blind, but now I see. Oh, the irony. Suddenly, the pastor stopped singing. He was looking at the front row. An usher had handed him one of the booklets from the welcome table. The music died down. The organist stopped, sensing the tension. The pastor, a stern man named Reverend Miller, looked at the paper. Then he looked at Martha. "Sister Martha!" His voice boomed over the microphone. Martha opened her eyes. She smiled. "Yes, Pastor?" "Is this your handwriting?" He held up the page with the email, the one where she called my daughters bastards. Martha squinted. I don't know what you mean." "It says here," the pastor read, his voice trembling with contained rage, "that you blamed 2 children for their father's death. And it says here," he flipped the page, "that you encouraged your son to commit adultery and hide assets." The silence in that room was heavier than gravity. "That's a lie!" Martha shrieked, standing up. "Who did this? It's the devil's work." "No, Martha," a woman from the choir loft shouted down. "It's your texts. Your number is right there." The dam broke. People started passing the booklets around. The church ladies who had bullied my daughter, I saw them reading the proof that they had been manipulated. They looked at Martha with horror. Not because they were good people, but because they had been made to look like fools. "You said it was surrogacy," someone yelled. "You said she was barren." "Liar," another voice shouted. Martha looked around, frantic. Her kingdom was crumbling. She looked at George, but he was staring at his shoes, defeated. She looked back at the congregation, searching for an ally. Her eyes locked with mine in the back row. I lowered my sunglasses. I didn't smile. I didn't wave. I just stared at her. I win. She collapsed back onto the pew, sobbing. Not tears of remorse, tears of a narcissist who lost her audience. "Get out," the pastor said, softly at first, then louder. "Get out of this house. We do not harbor malice like this." They walked out. The walk of shame to end all walks of shame. The entire congregation parted like the Red Sea, refusing to touch them, refusing to look at them. I left shortly after. I didn't stick around for the gossip. I had pancakes to make. The fallout was nuclear. By Monday, the story had spread to the whole town. Martha tried to post on Facebook again, claiming I had hacked the church service. Nobody liked the post. Instead, the comments were filled with screenshots of my booklet. "Game over, Martha," one comment read. The church ladies sent apology letters to my house. I burned them. I don't need their apologies. I needed them to leave my kids alone. And they have. They are terrified of me now. My daughters? When I told them what happened, my youngest smiled for the first time in weeks. "You really did that?" she asked. "I really did," I said. George and Martha have listed their house for sale. They're moving 2 states away. They have no friends, no church, and no family left. They wanted to isolate us. In the end, they isolated themselves. So here's the lesson. You can be a good Christian on Sundays. You can wear the hats and sing the hymns. But if you bully children and cover up lies, pray that their mother isn't watching, because God might forgive you. but I won't. And unlike God, I have a printer.